Shalom, Israel. All praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rahak, Kodash, the one the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well. Peace, blessings, salutations to all of the elect out there pushing the truth across the four corners of the earth. Risk your life to do so. And just want to do a response to a video I saw a brother did. And this is a common one that Esau tries to use. Only 1.5% of white people own slaves. So that, makes them exempt from judgment. And that's all bullshit. All right, and I wanted to start off with the little stat. And all the stat lines are bullshit. Whenever I look at, they try to play, because you can use statistics and you can try to single out certain numbers, which there are statistics, but what they do is they try to selectively use shit a certain way. 13% of the population is causing 50%. Like, nah, man. First off, Jake is more than 13%. All right, which you guys haven't figured that out yet, and that's okay. That's okay. But then also, you have to consider all of the crimes that Esau does that go unpunished. All right, us as Israelites, see, we're held to a higher standard. So yeah, we're gonna get caught because the Lord wants you to get caught. You're not supposed to get away with it. All right, eventually you're gonna get caught. You're gonna be found out. See, Esau, his judgments are all coming at the end. They get to stack up. They get to get away with shit. Some of these Edomites have done bullshit for generations, but they just been slick. They're still gonna receive judgment anyway, and that's gonna be on your whole nation, by the way, not just the ones who own slaves, or just the ones who were part of the overseers. No, your whole nation. All right, because the beginning of the stocks, we always go into that, started with the slave trade. That was the basis for this economy. All right, but I wanted to get into a particular article. Intergenerational effects of the large wealth shock, white Southerners after the Civil War. And it just goes into some of the numbers. And there's different sources out there. I just used this one because they had a lot of good primary sources. All right, go to this part. It said, before the Civil War, the Southern economy was largely agricultural. The region's most fertile soil was dedicated to the cash crops of cotton, tobacco, sugar, and rice, often grown on large plantations, while the upcountry was home to many small subsistence farmers. Late slaveholding was reserved for the top echelon. Come on, man. Of white households. In 1860, 21% of white Southern households, 21%, owned at least one slave, and 0.5% owned 50 or more slaves. All right, and my thing is, how do you guys know the exact number if everybody didn't register how many slaves they own? What you think? In this modern era, that's a new thing to just forge numbers on reporting things to the government. It was all kind of shit going on, man. Jake would run, go to a plantation, hide there, be around for years and shit. They don't even know. All right, but let's just go with that number. Let's say that that's true. Like you said, at least 20% owned at least one slave. All right, up north, you could buy your freedom. They also had indentured servitude. But then also, it's the same thing as slavery, just without the chains. Just like today. You go to they had the slave quarters, right? They redlined you to a certain portion of the city. these are your quarters, and we'll let you have a couple of little trinkets, little things, and we'll own all the businesses of there, of course, and there you go. You're welcome. So it's the same shit, right? And that's what this is a lot of these right-wing talking points, because they got a lot of them, and when you go through and examine them all, they're all bullshit. Like the brother was going into. All of them are bullshit. All of your sides and your opinions are bullshit. Your rulership is bullshit. Your science, like the scriptures say, is falsely so-called. You guys have tried to change history, to warp it, to fit your narrative, even when it doesn't. You've done cover-ups, omissions. It's time for you people to go down. But ultimately, this was all done because you Israelites are wicked, man. And just being on the internet, just seeing all this shit, you understand why the Lord did what he did. Right? At first, when you wake up to the truth, you kind of get emotional, like, damn, man, my people, you watch Roots when you're little. But then you get on this internet, man, this internet, the Lord knew what he was doing. You could see nationwide all the shit going on. It'd be like, what the fuck? just a clown show with so-called blacks being the worst of the worst. The so-called Latinos, so-called Native Americans. You guys are shit in the same boat, but the scriptures clearly say it. Judah is written with a pen of iron. Wickedness is written with a pen of iron under Judah. All right, Amos 3:2. Yeah, see, the Lord sees us all as families. You have different families of the earth. All right, it says, you only have I known of all the families of the earth. So all these different people, nations, and families, only the Israelites are known. And it's that simple. Therefore, I will punish you for all your iniquities. See, all these other people and Edomites and Ishmael, and the Lord don't know them. All right? Yeah, what do you mean he didn't know them? He created them. Well, yeah. But that goes into being close. All right? Being close with him. Because the king is not just close with everybody. You have those who are in their closest circle. All right, and that's Israel. Can two walk together except they be agreed? And the answer, if they ain't agreed, they can't walk together. And that's where the division is. All right, Zechariah 11:5. And you Edomites have all kind of excuses, man. Just all kind of excuses. Oh, well, ultimately the Lord used you. Matter of fact, let me get that. But in being used, you get to be the wicked. You get to play the part of the wicked. Which means you get a season of wickedness, you get a time to rule, you get riches, and you get to come back for a certain amount of generations with exemption. But now that exemption is up. You guys are seeing it, and now you're trying to justify pulling that sword out. And it's not going to work. This is Isaiah 10:5. Matter of fact, let me start at verse 1. 10:1. Woe unto them that decree unrighteous decrees, and that write grievousness which they have prescribed, to turn aside the needy from judgment, and to take away the right from the people of my people, that widows may be their prey, and that they may rob the fatherless. And ultimately, this is talking about Israel, but we know, of course, Esau fulfills all the lots of the wicked. There's some of these scriptures that talk about the wicked. It's actually talking about our people. It's actually talking about Jacob. All these damn planes in the sky. It said, yeah, to turn aside the needy from judgment. Yeah. And what will ye do in the day of visitation and in the desolation which shall come from afar? To whom will ye flee from glory? And where will ye leave your glory? To whom will ye flee for help? And that's the question. See, these Edomites are gearing up. You notice what's going on in Washington. Trump just signed over the D.C. police under his authority. All right, they're bumping up troops in D.C. You know, and we already know that's going to pass on from this city to the next city as insurrections increase. All right, famine increases. They're pulling back on SNAP and EBT benefits. All you women who are talking shit and got that goofy BBL, you're gonna be in for a rude awakening. All right, AI is gonna take your job. Like I said, famine is gonna hit you. Wait till famine hits the supply chain. See, the supply chain ain't been hit yet. It's on the decline, but they still importing heathens who can fill in. But wait till they get a lot of these people out of here, and all those places are left, or whatever happens, however the Lord does it. All right? To whom will ye flee for help? Without me they shall bow down under the prisoners, and they shall fall under the slain. For all this his anger is not turned away, but his hand is stretched out still. So the doors of mercy are still open, but not for long. It says, O Assyrian, the rod of mine anger and the staff in their hand is mine indignation. Now you look up that word indignation. Anger. Fury. Yeah, the Most High's displeasure with sin, Zayam. All right, so the rod of my anger and the staff in their hand. So everything that was used against us was of the Lord. All right, and of course Esau's going to lie about all the numbers. They're going to lie about the small hat's involvement with slavery. Of course, we know that. We know how their MO. You guys were there. Everybody knows you were. All right, you weren't just standing. Come on, man. They got pictures of you. Now, they did a good job of destroying a lot of those records. They're good, you know, they're pretty, they're okay liars, but, you know, to tell that lie, you got to get that lie 100%, which you never can, and which it can always be traced back when you have facts. All right, I'm not going to make this lesson long, but that's another bullshit talking point. Just wanted to shoot down with the scriptures. See, Obadiah talks about that. All right, yeah, 1:18. The house of Jacob shall be a fire, and the house of Joseph a flame, and the house of Esau. So your whole house, your whole family are stubble. Yeah, some houses of Esau didn't necessarily have slaves. I don't think it was Russia now. Russia did a lot of crazy shit. All right, but guess what? This whole economy, this whole place benefited off of slavery, which is why it's called, one of the reasons it's known as Egypt and Assyria. And then all you other nations were allowed to come over and get white status. Why do you think that was? Because you're of the same house. You're of the same family. All your cousins from, you know, Eastern Europe and wherever the fuck they were from, they came over here, you know, to that corny ass Neil Diamond song, and they received benefits. And it really is that simple. All right, that's why you got that status. That's why you got, you know, they had a Polish town or Italian part of the town, or the, you know, this part. You know, all you nations got to come over and receive that blessing. All right, so you're gonna have to eat it. Now, you guys didn't get the same portion as, you know, like the Rothschilds and the Oppenheimer. You know, some of the top families. They took over, but that's what a kingdom is. Everybody not on the same level in the kingdom. Now you have the top minds, the rulers. What does it say? The keepers of the house shall tremble. Every Edomite is not a keeper. You know, they're not privy to the behind the scenes and the royalty of Esau. We know the head of Esau is Amalek. That's their lot. That's why they're getting all this funding and shit, because they help to keep this place going. All right? That Amalek is going to perish like his own dung. But I'm going to leave it right there, man. Yeah, all these different little talking points is nothing you can do to escape judgment. Shalom to the elect.